What's up guys, welcome to another video. This one is going to be about the top 5 beginner credit cards in the UK right now in 2021. For anyone that's new here, my name's Peter and this channel is all about sharing the information on money, finance and online business that we all should know but were never taught. So if that sounds like it may be useful to you, please consider subscribing because it really helps out the channel and it makes sure you don't miss any future videos that are coming up. So before I get into the top 5 best beginner credit cards in 2021, I feel like there's just a few things that I should cover first. So I'm going to quickly talk about who these beginner cards are for, what makes them different to normal credit cards, and just a few tips on applying and using beginner credit cards. And then I'll get into the top 5 best beginner credit cards for 2021. And make sure you stay to the end because I'll have a bonus tip that increases your chances of getting approved for the credit card while not having a negative effect on your credit score. So with all that being said, let's get right into it. So who are these beginner credit cards for? Well, in short, it's either maybe people that may have a bad credit score due to financial mistakes they've made in the past, or people who have a bad credit score or low credit score simply due to not having used any credit in the past. Now there's this common misconception around credit and lending that we've all heard since growing up.
Oh, all debt is bad debt. Credit cards are evil, they just make the banks rich, you shouldn't use them. You should try and pay off your mortgage as soon as possible.
These are all the types of things we hear growing up, and so some people have a bad view of credit and just simply don't use it at all. But here's the thing, when managed properly, credit is a great asset for us to have. It can open up doors for us in the future, for example when we want to buy our dream house, or if you want to start a business and you need a loan to fund that. There's so many reasons why you could need credit and why it's good for you. And this misconception that all debt is bad, yes, for some people it is because they can't control their spending. So if they get given some credit, they won't be able to resist. They'll be going on a shopping spree or buying the latest tech, when that's not what credit should be used for. It should be used as a means to either build up your business or get the things that you actually need, like a house. And so these cards are for the people who may have had that misconception and therefore have never taken out any credit in their history. But they've realised that in the future they may want to buy a house or they may want to start a business that they'll need a credit card or a loan for. And in order to do that, you're going to need to build up some kind of credit history. The reason being that these credit lenders who are going to offer 100,000 for a mortgage, 50,000 for a business loan, they need to see some proof that you're trustworthy, you're able to manage credit and not just rely on it for all of your everyday spending. You're able to make payments on time, not have any missed or late payments, and it basically just reassures them that you're safe to lend to. So it makes sense with the higher lending for like mortgages, you will need a good history of credit for them to be able to approve you. So that's where you start here with beginner credit cards as the first step to building up your credit score. So what makes these beginner cards different? As I'm sure you probably know, you've seen them advertised over the internet or TV or anywhere basically, is that there's hundreds of different credit cards out there, all of them offering different kinds of benefits like 0% interest, reward points on your spending, free balance transfers, and all of these other perks. There's even some for some wealthy people who have unlimited credit limits. Now the things with all them cards are, they're only available to people who have good or excellent credit. Companies want to make sure you have a good history before they give you all these perks and benefits and low interest rates. So the providers of these beginner cards know that there are people out there, like yourself possibly, who don't have a history of good credit or have never even had credit in the past. So they need a way to build up their credit score. And that's where these lenders come in, because they realize that people with maybe a negative credit history or no history are going to need these cards. They're willing to be less strict on the eligibility criteria. What this means though is that the lenders are taking on a higher risk by lending to you. And in order to be compensated for taking on that higher risk, the cards usually come with a higher interest rate and also a much lower credit limit to limit the amount of risk that they're taking on. So before we get into the best 5 cards of 2021, here's some tips just on applying and using beginner credit cards. First one is that you need to remember they're a tool to build up your credit and not just free money. No lender or bank is going to give away free money. It always comes at a cost unless you manage it properly. So if you apply and get approved for one of these credit cards, you should not go out and spend it on things that you would otherwise never have the money for. It's not an open check for you to go on a shopping spree. You've simply got to remember it's a tool to build up your credit and you've got to use it wisely. I would suggest just taking one of your regular monthly payments. Maybe you spend £20 a week on shopping. Spend that £20 on the credit card and make sure you pay off the balance before it's due. to make sure you're not paying any interest on what you're spending, because you only pay interest on the money that you're spending if you don't pay it off that month. If you keep leaving it rolling, that's when interest starts to apply. And with these massive interest rates, that could just put you in a hole. So be wise, only spend it for things that you would have spent anyway, and make sure you pay them off. A tip when applying for a beginner credit card is that you want to give yourself the best chance possible of being accepted. The first step to doing this is actually checking your credit score, and then taking a few steps to try and improve that even before you've got credit. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you don't even know what a credit score is or how to check your credit score, or you don't have a clue about the tips to improve your credit score, I have this video here, either here or here, that I did recently, which explains all of this, and it will show you how you can get your credit score and credit report for free, and also has some tips that you can start applying now to improve your credit score even before you start applying for these beginner credit cards. So number 5 on the list is the Aqua Advance credit card. Aqua are known as a company that help people with low or bad credit. As you can see, this card is open to help people that a lot of other lenders wouldn't lend to, including people with CCJs on their account, as long as they're not within the last 12 months. This credit card has a starting balance between £250 and £1,200. Now, you won't be able to decide that credit limit. They decide it based on your details and your credit history. So you're likely to get one of the lower amounts to start off with. But this card actually offers the opportunity to increase your credit limit on your 4th statement, as long as you're sticking within your credit limit and making at least your monthly minimum repayments. The interest rate on this card is advertised as 34.9%, which means at least 51% of people who apply will get that advertised rate. But as you can see, it goes up to a maximum of 59.9%, which again is very high. So you want to avoid paying the interest by paying off your credit card within the month. Now, as you can see, this card is no thrills, no spills. You don't get any benefits for kind of signing up bonuses or spending on the credit card like you do on some others, but that's kind of standard for the majority of beginner credit cards. But once you've used it for a while, you will be able to either increase your limit or apply for one of these better cards once you've shown that you're able to manage your money and manage credit properly. Number 4 is the Barclaycard Forward credit card. As you can see, there's not many eligibility requirements on the credit card, which makes it good for people who may have a bad credit history or low credit history. However, you do need to have a minimum income of £3,000 annually. This card has a starting credit limit between £50 and £1,200. Again, you're more likely to get down the lower end when you're starting off, but that's not really a bad thing, because if you're using it properly, like you're only using it to do your shopping once a week and you're paying it off anyway, you don't really need a big credit limit, especially at this stage of your journey when you're just trying to build up your credit. The minimum monthly payment on this card is either £5, 2.5% of your balance, or any interest and fees plus 1% of your balance, whichever is higher of these amounts. One of the benefits of using this card is that it offers 0% interest for 3 months on your purchases. So that means within the first 3 months of having this card, any purchases that you make, you'll pay no interest within the first 3 months. So this is a situation where you could maybe buy something that you didn't have the money for, but you know if you paid it over the 3 months, you would have the money for it. But it's important that you only spend what you know you're going to be able to repay within the time limit before interest is applied. After the 3 months of 0% on purchases, the interest rate will increase to 33.9% APR. However, this card also has a system in place where if you manage your money properly, you don't go over the credit limit, and you make it at least your monthly minimum repayments, it'll reduce by 3% in the first year and 2% in the year after that. So after 2 years, you'll end up with a credit card at 28.9%. But allow me to just use this card to illustrate the point I'm making about only spending what you can afford to repay and interest rates. They've given an example that if you spend £1,000 on your card and you pay off £100 a month, it'll take you 1 year to pay off that balance. If you reduce that and you only pay £50 each month, the time it takes to clear your balance will increase to 2 years and 4 months. As you can see, that's a massive gap. But if you spend the £1,000 and then you only make the minimum repayments, I want you to guess in the comments how long you think that will take you to pay off and clear your whole balance. I'll wait while you do it. I'm sure you're going to be shocked to know. I was shocked when I saw it, but then again, I know these interest rates are crazy. I've been bitten by them in the past as well. If you pay the minimum payments on £1,000, it will take you 20 years and 3 months to pay off your balance. Hopefully that drives home the point that you just need to use these cards for your essential spending that you know you're going to spend anyway and clear the balance. This card has some benefits that they class as, such as a mobile app, saving on Barclays entertainment, using the card abroad, things like that. To be honest, I think they're clutching at straws a little bit here. They don't really sound like benefits, they sound like standards for most banks. The only thing is the saving on the Barclays events. But at the time of recording, we're not even meant to leave the house, so I'm not sure how useful that saving on Barclays events is going to be. Card number 3 is the Capital One Classic credit card. Capital One, again, are one of them companies that are known for helping people who have poor or no credit history. So the eligibility for these cards are a lot less than the normal banks. This card offers a starting credit limit of between £200 and £1,500, with a minimum repayment of £5 per month, which kind of seems to be standard across most of these cards, except one of them. The interest rate on the card is 34.9%, which is standard for everyone. It seems that everyone who applies and gets accepted for the card will be on that rate, which is good because you kind of know ahead of time what you're going to be on. As I say, this credit card is pretty bog standard, no benefits, no frills, but it's with a company that has a good reputation for helping build people's credit, and that's why it's number 3 on this list. Number 2 is the Amazon Classics Mastercard. You can tell from their website that they're targeting people who have low credit or no credit history and looking to build up their credit, because the qualifying criteria that they mention on the website is that you're over 18, you live in the UK, you have a UK bank account and mobile phone number. That's it. The starting credit limit for this card is £500. Again, if you get accepted for this card, that is the amount you'll get. There's no guesswork or waiting to see what they offer. And the £500 is quite considerably more than the majority of the cards on this list. This Amazon card also offers the benefit of 0% on your purchases for the first 3 months, and then after that it increases to a rate of 29.95%, which isn't too bad when you compare it to the other cards, but as I keep saying, you want to make sure that you're not paying that interest anyway. Unusually for beginner credit cards, this card actually has a bit of a benefit, and that is that once you get accepted, you'll get a £20 Amazon gift card. You won't actually get a gift card, it'll just be loaded onto your Amazon account, but that's a nice little benefit and a nice little perk for signing up for a card when they could quite easily give you nothing like the majority of card providers are doing. And number 1 on the list in the top 5 UK credit cards for beginners in 2021 is the Tesco Foundation credit card. The eligibility on this one, like all the others, is quite reasonable, except notably on this one, you do need to have an annual income of £5,000, which is a little higher than some of the others, so it's something to bear in mind. You do have a starting credit limit of between £200 and £1,500, but on their website they do mention that if you manage your card properly, you stay within your limit, you make your minimum payments, that you can be eligible for an increase, although they don't state any timescale for this or amounts on the website. The minimum monthly payment on this card is £25 a month. Now I know this is quite a bit higher than all of the other cards, but in my eyes that's actually a good thing, because say you're getting a credit limit of £200 and you have to pay off £25 each month minimum, it means that you won't be in debt for very long. Like the example I gave before, where the minimum payments would mean you're paying it off in 20 years. Having a minimum payment that's higher means you pay off the debt faster. Although for the last time I'll mention, you don't want to pay interest anyway. Make sure you clear the card every single month. The interest rate that's advertised on the card is 27.5%. Again, that means 51% of people who get the card need to be on that rate, but the rates do go as high as 39.9%. But here's the real benefit of this card and why it's number 1 on the list, and that is because it actually gives you benefits and rewards. For every £4 you spend in Tesco, you receive 5 club card points, and you'll also receive 5 points for every £4 you spend at Tesco fuel when you're putting in your petrol, and you'll receive 1 point for every £8 that you spend outside of Tesco. Now it's important to remember that these are in multiples of 4. So if you spend, for example, £6, you will only get the 5 points for the first £4. Now, if you're not sure what the club card points actually mean, every 100 club card points is equal to £1. Now, that may not seem like a lot, but every little helps. But it's better than nothing, especially when the majority of these cards don't offer any kinds of rewards. Now, you don't actually get the points turned into cash. Every 3 months, Tesco takes the points and converts them into vouchers. So you can spend these vouchers at Tesco, or you can get up to 3 times the value of your points when you use them at some of Tesco's partners on things like days out, travel and restaurants. As I say, there is a bonus tip which will increase your chances of getting approved for one of these cards without affecting your credit score, and that is to make sure you use the eligibility checkers. Each of these cards on the website has an eligibility checker which will do a soft search on your credit account, so it'll not have an effect on your score, but it'll tell you there and then if you're likely to get approved for this card. This means that if you're not likely, you don't apply for it and it does not have an effect on your score. It's important you do this because if you apply to several different cards, you get several different hard searches on your credit report, which will have a negative effect on your score. So make sure you use the eligibility checker before applying to any cards. And if you're unsure about what I'm talking about when I'm mentioning these credit scores, make sure you check out this video that I've done. It'll explain everything with tips on how to improve within the next 30 days. So I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please give it a like. It really helps out the channel. And make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future videos that may come up. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.